help people recognize, reframe, and reset.
Do you want to tell that story?
I'll let you tell that story.
Hence the On Your Mind podcast. Welcome back to the On Your Mind podcast with me, Dorsey Standish. I'm so excited to introduce today our first ever Ask Me Anything podcast. This AMA episode has come out of your support and your questions, which honestly, I've been completely blown away by. So thank you for your support of our first episodes, and I'm so excited to keep the momentum rolling with this one. You know, it's funny for me because I spend a lot of time with my beloved family, especially my teenage son and my wife. And I always joke with my clients that they've actually told me, Dorsey, I never want to hear the words research shows before you start a sentence. I don't care about your research, but I'm really grateful that you all do and you have questions about brain health research and how you can apply it to your daily life. So let's dive into our first question. This comes from Valisa, who shared on social media that she's always looking for guidance on how to be more mindful in daily life, with work, with relationships with friends and family, and more. When we think about being mindful in daily life, that's what we might call an informal mindfulness practice. So a formal practice is when we set aside dedicated time, even 1 minute per day, to practice coming back again and again to the present moment. Informal practice is when we drop into presence and something we're already doing, like eating lunch, washing the dishes, walking to our car. So when Valisa asks about being more mindful at work or in relationships, my first piece of advice would be to anchor that informal practice with some sort of formal daily mindfulness practice that starts to create that daily habit that helps you identify as somebody who practices mindfulness, like our first guest, Christine Wenger, even for just 1 minute a day. So once you have that 1 minute formal practice as an anchor, it's really easy to carry that over into additional informal habits that support mindfulness. I would suggest thinking about personal habits you can adopt on a daily basis, such as eating 1 meal per day without technology and being fully present for it. I try to go on 1 walk every day without my phone. It could be even a 2-minute walk outside, but some sort of connection where I'm curious, I'm open, I'm noticing the outdoors without any distractions. And I also pay special attention to what I do during transition times. If you're anything like me, you realize you pick up your phone even when you're headed to the bathroom. So we tend to fill every minute with taking in information. And informal mindfulness is about pausing to just be with what is. Once you have those personal habits down, it becomes even easier to continue the momentum into things like work and daily life. When you're at work, and depending on your role and what tasks you have to do during the day, you might be someone that's dealing with constant Teams messages or phone calls coming in, and it feels really hard to be present for any given amount of time. I would say no matter what your role is, if you can carve out even just one deep work period a day of 20 to 30 minutes, that might mean getting in early or staying late, but cultivating that focus muscle with an informal mindfulness practice of focusing on just one task for at least 20 minutes at a time. Then you can also incorporate mindful pauses during your workday, such as starting your meetings by feeling your feet on the floor or taking one big deep breath. And just for fun, you might even invite your colleagues to do some of these short practices with you. From work, we also get into the subject of interpersonal relational mindfulness, both with colleagues, but then that also carries out into our most important relationships with our family and our friends. And when I think about being with people, I think about my favorite times and then what gets in the way of those. So we have my in-laws come over every Monday and we try to play a game. It's so much fun. What gets in the way, whether it's at game night or, family meals or just kind of daily life, is typically technology. So I look for times that I can lean into connection and mindful presence with the people I love and set boundaries around technology or distractions that will take us away from each other. My family gets annoyed at me because if we have a question during dinner, we're debating, who said this quote, we'll always ask Alexa instead of getting out our phones to look at it. So leaving screens out of the equation whenever possible and really encouraging that real life face-to-face connection. And then consider starting some traditions or family rituals. Things like every Friday night we have movie night with no devices. We sit together and enjoy. Or we read our books together. Or my wife and I use the Theragun and we'll massage each other's shoulders at night. Any little rituals like that. It takes some effort to get out of the groove of kind of that digital solitude. It's so easy to slip into. But when you carve out that intentional time and space to be present with the people you love, it will pay back 100-fold in those social connection and brain health benefits you get. So it really takes that feel-good mindfulness to the next level when you can not just practice personally, but then also bring it into the things and the people that you love. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube page at Dorsey Standish for all episodes of On Your Mind. And follow me on social media at Dorsey Standish. Let's keep rolling with another Ask Me Anything question from our listener, Christina. Christina says, another topic I love is change management. It's fascinating to me how even good change can be scary, and oftentimes people experience the stages of grief or something similar when going through change. I love this topic of change management, and I know it's become increasingly popular in corporations to have a change management department or somebody that's responsible for overseeing what we know as human beings are the constant changes that we face, especially at an organizational level. I heard recently that change management is a misnomer because you can't really manage change. It's something that's happening all the time and we don't have a lot of control over it. This thought leader was saying we should really call it change response. And I love that perspective because rather than kidding ourselves that we can manage the changes that happen in our lives, sometimes we're simply responding to the inevitable changes that life throws our way. And change is probably the clients I work with, their least favorite thing, even though it happens to us constantly. Our brains are wired to look for predictability, to look for safety. If you think about habits, we've talked about how 40 to 95% of our daily actions are habit-based. We're on autopilot. We're doing the same routines, the same things day after day. So whenever we experience change, even if it's positive, it triggers uncertainty, it triggers a loss of familiarity, and it can put our brain into overdrive, having to work much harder to make new decisions, to carve out new routines. I like to think about our brain as kind of a prediction machine. So if you think about when I'm typing a message on my iPhone, it'll try to guess what word I'm creating as I'm typing. Your brain's the same way. It's trying to guess the end of the sentence, the end of the day, the end of the week. It's trying to figure out what's going to happen in the future, which can be really exhausting. When we're going through a period of change and uncertainty, we don't know how it's going to end up. Our brain ends up expending a lot of energy trying to figure that out. And no matter what the change is, even if it's a positive one, it can create a loss of familiarity. So whenever there's a change, we're giving up something that's familiar, that's comfortable. And so as Christina points out, it can be totally normal to go through the stages of grief when you're experiencing a change in your life. When we think about working on our ability to respond to change, I have to confess, this is probably one of my biggest growth areas still. If anyone of you has taken the personality test Strengths Finder from Gallup, my strengths are, achiever, activator, competition, connection, things like that. And then if you go down to like number 35 or 36, literally the last strength on the list, adaptability. My wife likes to joke I am the most routine-oriented, habit-driven person she's ever met. So it's not surprising that I, in particular, have trouble making changes and adapting, even to positive ones like being pregnant or having a new baby. It still takes me some time to shift, and that might be true for you as well. Some things that can help you in your desire to grow in your response to change is to shift from looking at change as the enemy to something that's inevitable, and shifting your focus to how can I embrace uncertainty? How can I embrace some of this discomfort? One of the teachers that really helped me in this journey is the meditation author Pema Chodron. I love her titles of her books because she doesn't skirt around the topic. She has books like When Things Fall Apart, or The Places That Scare You, or Comfortable with Uncertainty. And she teaches us again and again that life is constantly shifting and changing, and the only thing we can do is be fully present and brave to face what's here right now. So if you're looking to improve your change response, mindfulness or presence practice is going to help you do that. And in addition to those reset moments where you recenter, you're fully present, you get curious about what is right here, right now, you can also engage those rational parts of your brain with cognitive reframing to help calm some of that anxiety response from the limbic system in the face of discomfort and change. You can ask yourself questions like, how will this change in an hour, a week, a month, a year? Think forward. What are the positive impacts of this change going to be? You can also find things that aren't changing. So in a period where, say, you're moving houses, you may not want to move jobs. Find comfort in the things that steady you and focus on those. And perhaps most importantly, if you can find silver linings within a change, even seeing the opportunity within the challenges that you're facing, that's something that continues to help me and drive me. Even going from, I'm so tired coming home from a work trip to, I'm so grateful I got to help people today and I'm tired because I made a difference. How we talk to ourselves, how we engage our rational brain around change can help mobilize all our resources to show up as the best human being we can be in each moment, regardless of how chaotic things are feeling externally. I want to know what's on your mind. If you have any questions for me or my guests, or you have a guest you'd like me to interview, you can DM me directly on Instagram at Dorsey Standish or send me an email at hello@dorseystandish.com. Our third Ask Me Anything question is really one that I get asked probably in any casual conversation where I mention traveling or speaking to a construction site around mental health. And folks will ask me, how did you get started in the construction industry? And what I like to tell them is it's actually one of our longest standing industries that we've been working with at Mastermind. Our first client was Turner Construction in 2017, and one of their forward-thinking safety managers came to us and said, my job is safety, and we always think about safety being physical safety on the job. But I think that mental health issues are becoming a bigger and bigger part of my job, keeping people safe on the work site. And he was really a visionary. We know from recent data in 2022, for example, that year, about 1,000 people died from physical on-site job accidents. When I asked people to guess how many people died that same year from taking their own life in the construction industry, people will guess, maybe 200, maybe 500. 6,000 people died that same year. So construction workers in 2022 were 6 times more dangerous to themselves than all that heavy machinery that they work with so often on site. This is why Mastermind has become increasingly involved, not just with Turner Construction, but with companies like Athletic Training Solutions, like HIT Contracting, like the Construction Mental Health Summit, which is helping to promote this same such important topic of mental health, substance abuse, and suicide prevention in the industry. And while our work in construction really started first around just strictly mindfulness and mental health, it's expanded to include, site-wide, bilingual, everyone stand down, come in for lunch, and let's take some breaths together and explore the power of social connection for brain health and how we can support each other across our diverse backgrounds, across the different trades we work in, the different roles we play on this site, to make sure that coming to work is a happy, healthy place every day. We've gone from just the mindfulness sessions to also specializing in team building. So construction is one of the most unique industries I've worked in. I always say when I walk on site, I feel like I'm immediately part of a family, part of a team. Everyone's rooting for each other. And we know that social connection is a pillar of brain health. So when I work with construction teams, I help them lean into the strength of leaning on each other and get even stronger as a team, which will not only support their mental health, but research shows that higher emotional intelligence construction teams actually complete their projects more successfully, on time, under budget. So there's a huge business case as well as an employee well-being case for increasing the number of team building and emotional intelligence trainings that we've been doing. As much as I feel so grateful for the success we've had in the last 8 years in this industry, I feel like we're just scratching the surface. People's minds are more open than ever. I was in New Jersey, in Virginia, in Ohio recently, and people all over from all different backgrounds are so grateful when I lead them in a short pause, to breathe, to reconnect their rational brain areas with their emotional brain areas. In today's chaotic, stressful world, people are more grateful than ever for new ways of thinking about their brain, about their work, about their life, and practical science-based tools to show up at their best every day on the job site and then going home to their families that matter so much to them. I'm so grateful for this work in construction. I love having my PPE, my hard hat, my vest, my boots that I wear. And even though I'm not formally a part of the industry, I'll always have a special place in my heart for these workers that work so hard, that literally build the foundations of our societies, and am committed to doing whatever we can to support them and their well-being. With that, I've been so grateful to answer your questions today. Even if my teenager doesn't want to listen to me, I'm glad that you do and that you care about putting brain health first. Please keep your questions coming. I'd love to hear more about what's on your mind. Reach out to us via Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. We're on all the platforms, and we can't wait to keep supporting your brain health and well-being. See you soon.
If you'd like to learn more about how to book Dorsey Standish for a speaking engagement or company training, you can learn more at dorseystandish.com.